All right, welcome back for another episode of Chasing Ghosts. This is the video series where I talk about those hard to find, those impossible to find comics, those things you really got to research, track down, hunt, things that are just not easily found, like at your LCS on the regular. They're not just on the wall for you to go pick out anytime you want. These are just some hard to find, tough books, whether they be rare, low print, just not easy to track down. Hopefully, you're enjoying this as well as everything else here on the channel. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. We've hit 2K. We're still on our way to 2K, I should say. And we've hit 1,800. So we're getting there. So keep telling your friends so we can get there sooner rather than later, as we will be doing another giveaway. And with that, hopefully you're enjoying the live shows here on Wednesdays and on Sundays. And if you want to know what ghosts I have in store for you today, or potential ghosts, I should say, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back. All right, so let's see what I've got on tap for you this week. Right now, we are going to start off with a run of New Warriors. We're going to start off first with this J. Scott Campbell cover, showing this whole team from this volume 2 of New Warriors from 2014, February 2014 to be precise. This is the 1 in 50 incentive. It is the color version. There is a higher ratio sketch version, but we will get to that soon. We're going to start with the 1 in 50 first. This has an estimated print run of about 45,000 thereabouts, so that's going to make our incentive about 915 potential copies. Again, these are estimated numbers. These are not set in stone. This is just based off of the numbers I can grab from Comic-Con, doing those quick little ratio math equations, and that gets us to our estimated number. What do we got in the census for this one? Well, this one has 40, 36 9/8, 3 9/6s, and it looks like 190 in the CGC census for this particular edition. If you're curious what this thing sells for online, I would be curious too, because there were no sales within the last 3 months. Surprisingly, no sales. But we do have a couple. If you want to go buy one, there are a couple, both graded. $160 for a 9/8, which for a 1 in 50 doesn't seem like it's all that much. And then $260 for a CBCS 9/6 yellow label signature series. So looks like it's signed by J. Scott Campbell. So there are your two options for this book right now. But as I mentioned, this is the 1 in 50. There is another version of this book, and that is the sketch version, which is here. Not too bad. I'm not a huge sketch cover fan, as I've mentioned many times before, but this one is not too bad. I mean, I do like Campbell, so maybe that's part of it. Again, same date. This is also February 2014, but this is the 1 in 100 incentive variant. So this will be twice as hard to find as our 1 in 50. So that would make our incentive here potentially 457 copies, which is not a lot. But surprisingly, almost the same number of copies in the census with 35. One of them being a 9/9. And we have 32 9/8, a 9/6, and a 9/4, which for this white cover, you would have thought would be harder to find in higher grade, but there is a 9/9 in the census. Unlike the 1 in 50, there are a few sales, and surprisingly, they are not that expensive. $15 at auction with 8 bids. $15.55 for a 1 in 100 J. Scott Campbell cover. $13.50 back in May. Also at auction. Telling you, you got to keep an eye on those auctions because you might be able to sneak some of these for pretty cheap. Even the 9/8, a CGC 9/8 sold for $76 at auction on May 15th for this 1 in 100 incentive variant. 14 bids to only $76. Those are bargains, if you ask me, for what this book is. I get it. The market's just not very hot on this because I guess maybe they don't like the sketch cover. Maybe they don't like the New Warriors. I don't know what it might be. But this book is pretty cheap, all things considered, and considering how many potential copies there may be out there. When you look at what's available, there's $50 copies, $85 raw, $135 for a 9/8, and there's a few more. So there's a good number of copies available for this book, but I don't know. I just would have thought the prices would have been higher personally, but hey, it is what it is. The market is what the market is. I'm not going to argue it. Maybe I think I might even have one of these. I'm not sure. I was digging in my box to see if I could find a copy of this, but I don't know where I might have put it. But I feel like this might have been one of the ones I've also gotten at auction for a decent price. That all said, this was issue 1 of New Warriors, and the next couple issues from that run also had 1 in 50s. So we're going to look at those next. Starting with issue 2, which is a Jorge Molina cover. Pretty cool. Got the whole team here. You got Sam Alexander Nova, who is going to get a bigger profile, I would think, very soon if we get him in the MCU. But we'll see. Eventually, we know we will get him. But this is a 1 in 50 from March of 2014. Print run dipped from that first issue, so there's only 26,000 copies thereabouts. So that's going to give this incentive only about 520 copies. That's not a whole heck of a lot. And when you factor in the point that CGC didn't have any of these in the census, I'm surprised nobody had one of these graded. It is still a 1 in 50 incentive variant, right? There have been copies sold. I can't believe how cheap they were sold for, but there are copies sold. 1 bid, $3.99. 3 bids, $6.50. 1 bid, $3.99. There's no way this should be that cheap. But that's what I'm saying. There are some variants out there that are very cheap, and these are the ones I like to buy. Because somebody bought these for pretty cheap. And if you want to join them and get one for cheap yourself, well, good luck. Because right now, we have none out there. So at this moment, you can't get one for cheap. But maybe if you're patient, maybe one will come up for auction for cheap as well. And you can take a shot at it. That's issue 2. And there's one more in this run where there's a 1 in 50. And that is issue 3, which is a Mark Bagley cover, I believe here. Again, you get the whole squad together, Speedball and whatnot. Pretty cool cover, kind of a group shot with them all looking off into the distance there. This came out in April of 2014. Like I said, a 1 in 50. Print run dips a little bit here to 23,000. So our incentive is only about 462 potential copies. And this one had one in the census. There was 198. And that's it. So 198 for this one in the CGC census. Which the other one didn't have any. So this one's got 1. Again, this one also sold for $3.99 twice. Once June 19th. So once just yesterday as I'm filming this. And then once back in April. $3.99. And this one, if you do want a copy, well, while they're not $3.99, there's a $20 with free shipping out there, and there's a $75 one, both 1 in 50. So I don't know. That's what's on the market. If you were interested, that's what you would be looking to pay. I don't know. I might keep an eye out for those $3.99s because maybe more will keep popping up. I don't know. It could happen. That said, those are the first 3 books I wanted to cover. And next, we are going to pick up something I did a couple of weeks ago. Those Marko Jurdovic covers. Yes, part of that run. He did multiple 6-cover, connecting cover incentive variant runs. So we did the issue 1s last week. We are going to look at another one that came just a few months later for most of these same X titles. And we're going to start here with Dakin, however you want to say it, Dark Wolverine number 4. This is the start. It's going to be the one all the way to the right, so we're maybe doing this backwards, but that's how I decided to run this one. So this is a 1 in 75 from December of 2010. Most of these issues came out in December of 2010, except for one, I think, came out in January, the following month, but this is a 1 in 75. The other difference between this run, which was in the last run of these Jurdovic covers were all 1 in 75s. This one is a mix of 1 in 75s and 1 in 50s. And there's some conflicting information about which is which, but I took the best information that I could find to give you what I think is the correct information as far as I could find. Again, with the resources available to us online, this is what I see as far as the ratios go. And this is the one of the few that are the 1 in 75s for this set. And this is the Dark Wolverine number 4. So after all that, 30,000 estimated print one, which will give our incentive maybe only 409 copies if the 1 in 75 is the correct ratio, which matches pretty well with the only 20 in the census. There's 998s, 796s, and then a few others. Only one copy sold for this particular book within the last 3 months, and it was a 9.6 that sold for a solid $250. I will say that was back in April. And if you want to start collecting this cover set, good luck. While there are some copies out there, there's not a lot. So right now for this one, you've got two options: $850 raw, or a Signature Series SS for 426 26 out of the UK. And it's got 11 watchers. So pretty expensive to start. Either way, you decide to go. And that is our first cover for the set. And then we are going to look at our next book here, which is Wolverine, The Best There Is, number 2. Again, we're going to start building it out and connecting these covers as we go down the list. This is also a 1 in 75, which is odd because this is issue 2, and this is the one that came out in January of 2011. But there is issue 1 part of this set as well, which is only 1 in 50. I don't know why the ratios are different, but again, we'll get to that when we get to that. This is another 1 in 75. So estimated print run of about 33,000 on this one, which makes our incentive only about 446 potential copies, with the CGC census only having 16, with 498s, 796s, 394s, and it looks like a pair of 85s. No copies have sold recently on this one. This Wolverine, The Best There Is, issue 2. So no copies sold, which is kind of interesting. But we still have a pair available. And they're not that bad, actually. $39 with free shipping, and then $30 with $20 shipping out of the UK. So 40 to 50 bucks this would run you, based off of those prices. For a 1 in 75, that's under ratio, and significantly different than the last issue, which was very, very expensive. I don't know. It is what it is. But that was our second issue of this set, and we will continue adding on to it with our next cover right here. And that is the regular Wolverine title from 2010. This is Wolverine number 4. This is, again, a high incentive ratio. This is only a 1 in 50, which is it's no small number. Still 1 in 50 copies from December of 2010. But it's not the 1 in 75s that we just had. Estimated print run of about 52,000. So our incentive is still a little over 1,000 copies for this one. A decent number in the census with 26, 18 9/8, 6 9/6s, and a pair of 9/4s. And much like the last book, there were no copies sold within the last couple of months, surprisingly for this one. But we do have some available for this one. I mean, with 1,000 copies, not too surprised, but this is more like a $70 to $100 raw book, apparently from the ask, and a $500 9/8. And there's a few others out there as well. But yeah, interesting. Like, again, the prices are all over. We've got prices in the $30 range, $100 range raw, $800 range, all for books that are relatively the same time frame, print run, all of that. But hey, it is what it is. We will add on for our fourth title connecting to this set, and this is that Wolverine, The Best There Is, number 1 that I had mentioned. And this is from December of 2010, and this is a 1 in 50 on this one. Again, I don't know why one was a 1 in 50, the other one's a 1 in 75, but that appears to be the case from what I can gather. Estimated print run on this one about 57,000, and at a 1 in 50, there's going to be like a little over 1,100 potentially for this one. CGC census here has 33 copies with 19 9/8s, 10 9/6s, and then a few others. And copies have sold for this particular issue more in the range of about... Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back to that. I clicked it too fast. I didn't get the best offer numbers on these today, but it looks like best offer on 22.75, so under 22.75 for a raw, and under $150 for a 9.6. Again, a little bit on the cheaper side. Again, just like the other Wolverine, The Best There Is. I guess people don't like that title for one reason or another. I don't remember it being that bad as far as a read goes. I think that was when he had that weird, like, serial killer going after him. I don't know. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've read it, but that all said, I can't remember his name. It's a weird name too. Anyway, and copies available, only $15 and $34 for raw copies available for this particular one. And again, 1 in 50 incentive. So both are well under ratio, but both about, $30, $35 raw when you factor in shipping and everything. So what else do we have here? Adding on, that's 4. 4 out of 6. We still have 2 more, with our next book being X-23. We got the pretty cool Weapon X edition here. And if you haven't guessed, these are all different versions of Wolverine, as you can see through the years. That's the theme running across these, from, the brown suit, the patch, the leather jacketed new X-Men version, the old school with the Hulk, and the Weapon X version. All different versions of Wolverine throughout the decades. And this is X-23 number 4. This is also a 1 in 50. Not a 1 in 75, but a 1 in 50. Estimated print run of only about 29,000 thereabouts, so only about 594 copies of the incentive for this one. 30 copies in the census, with 15 9/8s, 8 9/6s, and then a few others. This book, however, has sold for an interesting $97.02. So just under $100 with 7 bids at auction back in April. So it's been a little while since one is sold, but still at auction, one sold for just under $100 on this 1 in 50. But it is an X-23 title as well, so I think that gives it a little bit more of a spotlight, I guess. Raw copy asking $275 on this one, while a 9/6 is asking only $189 by comparison. Granted, everybody wants that 9/8, but when presented with a case like this, I think you got to go the 9/6 if you were in the market to pay these prices, is all I'm saying. But that was issue 5 of our 6 cover set, with our final cover coming here to finish off the image. Our Wolverine through the decades, we get that Team X Wolverine from his back in the day when he was Sabretooth and Maverick and those guys. So we've got that, and you got the Weapon X and the original OG versus Hulk, the leather jacket, the patch, and the brown suit Wolverine running through the decades. Pretty cool set if you can get them all. But this is our last one. This is on Uncanny X-Force number 3. This is that Remender Opeña run, which is really cool. So it's a really pretty cool read. I'd recommend getting these regular issues just to read, and I'm not recommending getting a 1 in is this a 1 in 75, 1 in 50 for reading purposes. But this is a 1 in 50 incentive from December of 2010. Estimated print run of just over 55,000. So the incentive here is going to be just over 1,100 copies, which is no small number, to be sure. 27 copies in the census, with 10 9/8s, 4 9/6s, and then a bunch of others to round that out. And this is another case where we haven't had any sales within the last 3 months to kind of gauge where it might be. So who knows what the sale prices might be, but we do have, as like the others, a couple of copies out there. Granted, the copies out there are an auction starting at about $36 US, with another $36 in shipping, or you can buy one outright for $160 or best offer raw in both cases. So that's your options for this one right now. Again, it's going to be a tough set to collect. Any of these sets are going to be tough to collect. Like I said, he did multiple ones. I mentioned before. There's a couple Avengers ones. He has the Ultimate Universe one that has that Miles book in it. Plenty of really cool stuff that Jurdovic was doing back at this time, especially with these incentive variants. But and again, I'm a sucker for the connecting cover sets. But good luck if you decide to hunt that one. And just to kind of wrap us up, we're going to leave Marvel just for a second and dip into the indie world for a quick little jaunt over to the world of Rick and Morty. I like Rick and Morty. It's one of my favorite animated, well, it's probably my second favorite animated show, right after Archer. I'm a big fan of Archer. And then Solar Opposites is right in there too, which is another Roiland thing. But Rick and Morty also has a comic book. And when it came out, this is a high incentive ratio for said comic book. This is a 1 in 50. And the art here, you might say, oh, that's awful. Well, this is the creator. This is Justin Roiland. He created it, and then they animated it. But here we go. This is his, I guess, initial idea for this kind of take on Doc Brown and Marty, but refurbishing it to a grandfather-grandson relationship. This is from April 2015. Again, 1 in 50 incentive. A print run on this Oni Press book was only about 17,000. So this incentive maybe only has 352 copies out there. All white cover. It's going to be tough to get this in high grade as well, but these are out there. These are out there. 352. There are 164 in the CGC census. 164 with 58 9/8s, 49 9/6s, 32 9/4s, and a bunch of others. 164 copies. That's kind of crazy to me. That's like half of the copies all graded. But Rick and Morty is a popular series, and this book was very popular for a good long while. I think it might be kind of forgotten about right now, but for a while there, this was a pretty hot book. and it's still expensive. Don't get me wrong. Granted, a copy sold raw for only $200, and back in April, I say only 200 because when you look at the sales of the graded copies, a 9.6 sold for about a grand, and a 9.8 sold for $3,600. And that $3,600 sale was just on June 10th, so it was only 10 days ago. That's no small amount. Granted, I get it; it's a very low print run, but it's still an expensive book. And if you want to go shopping, there are copies, and they are all expensive. $3,600 for a 9.8, $1,000 for a 9.4, $4,150 for a SS 9.8 with a little remark, it looks like. And then there are more, but they're all pretty expensive because they're all pretty much graded and they're all like $1,000 plus. So this is not a cheap book at all. So if you want this Rick and Morty #1, good luck. But this isn't the only tough Rick and Morty book that you can go hunting. If you want to go hunt another tough Rick and Morty book, then you can go look for this Pocket Like You Stole It variant. This is one of those a subscription box variant. So much like the Nakayama Neff box, Dr. Afro #1 that I really, really want, and I can't find one. This is probably just as tough. This is the Pocket Like You Stole It Rick and Morty from the Nerd Block. So we don't know what the print run might be on this one. Came out in 2017. It would have come in this subscription box from Nerd Block, which probably had a couple of other things in there along with the comic, like little knickknacks and what have you. I didn't have a Nerd Block subscription, so I don't know exactly what came in those boxes. I had a Loot Crate once, and I had the Marvel Collector Core with the Funko Pops at one time for a short time, but don't know what was in the Nerd Block box. But subscription boxes were a thing for a time, and for a time, you did get some interesting interesting exclusive variants with these subscription boxes. But this particular Pocket Like You Stole It, there are a decent amount in the census for this one as well, with 84 copies, with 69 9.8s, 10 9.6s, and a few others, even though we don't know what the print run might be. Copies sold. There have been sold copies, and prices are kind of all over. Granted, a couple of these came in full-on collection, so we can't really look at those. That's like $1,500 to $2,000 sales for those collections of Rick and Morty books. But a 9.8 of this book had 31 bids to get $273, which is a lot of action on that book. And 273 is it's interesting. It feels like it's on the lower end of what it should be or could have been or it used to be, but it's kind of right in there. And then that 9.4 best offer on 220. So kind of tough to gauge where the price is on this one right now as far as actual sales go. But the asking prices are about $300 for a 9.8, $245 for a 9.2, and then there's a $1,300 raw copy out there. I mean, I don't know why you're going to pay $1,300 for a raw copy when there's a 9.8 for $295, but that's what's out there right now. Those are the 3 copies that I could find. So if you are interested in getting this book, well, those are your options. Not saying anybody pay these prices. It's just that's what's there. And good luck to you if you can find this one. Because again, this is just one of those weird little tough books to go and track down because it didn't come to shops. It came in that subscription box. But that all said, if you've noticed this week, for whatever reason, I didn't plan it this way. I mean, I picked the books I want to cover, and then whatever happens, happens. This week, most of these all kind of had at least 2, if not more, copies. So a lot of these are only hard to find, including that entire Jurdovic run of high-end ratio incentives for those X books. But it is what it is. I mean, like I said, if I did this at another week or another time, maybe the results would be different. But at this stage, on this day, this is what we're looking at. After all of this, all of these are only hard to find, except for this one lone book, this New Warriors #2, this 1 in 50. Had no copies out there, sold or in the census. There's just none out there. No, there were copies that sold for like $4. I'm sorry, that's what it was. Copies that sold over the last few months were only like $3.99, but no copies available right now. So for right now, I gotta call it a ghost because there's none available for you. But keep your eye out, and maybe you can get it for super cheap. It's just one of those weird little things. It should make for an interesting talking point. Copies sold for so cheap, and yet there's none available right now. What should this be priced? Is this the ghost? I don't know. Right now, I'm calling it a ghost because there's none for you to have. If you want it, there's none to buy. But maybe next week something will be different. Who knows? But that's what I got for you this week. Hopefully you enjoyed that weird little take that I had with my selections for the week. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Thanks for stopping by and checking this out. I appreciate you all. I got more stuff coming down the pipe. We got the tax show tomorrow where we'll talk about Obi-Wan. It's the Obi-Wan finale, so we're going to do a little bit of a dark side special where the boys are going to come over and we'll talk about that Obi-Wan Kenobi finale the day it pops out. And maybe we can even get the guys to watch Ms. Marvel as well. That's a really good show. And with that all said, thank you all for checking this out, and I will see you soon with some more content. Later.